Hello friends. You are on the channel about tracking crypto wallets. Here I am showing how to make money by following crypto wallets. In previous videos, I talked about the main service for finding successful crypto wallets, showed how to find snipers' wallets, and how to set up a bot to automatically follow wallets. Today, I will tell you how to find the wallets of successful traders, how to set up a bot to follow traders, and show my personal statistics on traders. For newcomers, there is a link to the service for finding successful crypto wallets in my Telegram channel. Before starting, I warn you that this video is not an investment recommendation and advertising. Here I share only my personal experience and do not encourage anyone to repeat after me. So, how do you find the wallets of successful traders? To do this, we will need the same service DeFi. Who doesn't know yet? This service sees all crypto wallets on the Ether network and shows their profitability. As we see, there are more than 4 million wallets in the service, and accordingly, we need to create a filter. To find successful traders, click on the filter A New Filter. In fact, it is not so difficult to find successful traders. This will help us with such a simple filter as the media ROI raised. There's a hint here of what that means. Media ROI raised is the average percentage of profit that we get from a closed transaction. And in fact, we will choose the period for the year. We need wallets that earn at least 5% on average from each transaction. That is, they invested $100 there and took $105. Yes, they invested $1,000, took $1,050. That's at least 5%. Let's apply it, let's see what happens. Out of 4 million wallets, we have 256,000 wallets left. Yes, most of it has already been cut off. All of them earn at least 5% of the ROI. But let's refine the filter, because it's hard to choose from 256,000. So, let's clarify. We only need wallets that have enough transactions to assess the situation. That is, in which there were at least 20 transactions there in a year. This is the bare minimum. Yes. Let's see how much we have left. 4,000 left. 4,500 wallets. There is still a lot, let's select something better. Let's cut off the scam wallets. To do this, there is a scam trades filter. This is the percentage of scam transactions for the year, so that there is a maximum of 20% of the scam. How much is left? There are 3,700 left, so the benches were cut off. You can do less to make it more likely. I'll even make it smaller. Okay, great. But this is our percentage of the average transaction. And I want to clarify more so that the wallet is profitable at a distance. Yes. To do this, there is a swarm total filter. ROI total, that is, it is the percentage of profit for a specified period of time. For example, for a month I am interested in making at least 100% profit. That is, if you invested $1,000 at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month, you took at least $2,000. So, there are only 428 wallets left, but it's still a lot. Let's clarify in absolute terms, but all this is in percentages, and we need more specifically in dollars how much we will earn. Come on, we need wallets that have earned at least $50,000 in a year. There are 50 wallets left. Okay, and we'll see. In short, I want to limit the amount of investment. Here there is such an interesting parameter investment and amount. This is how much money you need to invest, taking into account reinvestments, profits or losses, in order to earn repeat for this wallet. And let the amount of necessary investments be no more than $30,000 per year. But you can change all these parameters as you like. So, there are 35 wallets left. And let's introduce one more parameter. Here is the original wallet to earn $50,000, but it's important to us how much we earn by following it. To do this, go to the Following tab. These are calculated indicators of following the wallet. And so following penal total. It's like a purse penel, only it will be our penel. So that in a year, repeating after him, we earned at least $40,000. Out of 4 million wallets, we have 16 left. We can sort them by any column. This is the wallet profit column, the percentage profit column. Roy Hai is not going to talk about it now. Pin rate total is the percentage of successful transactions. The necessary investments, the maximum drawdown, the average median liquidity of the coin in which he invests. Well, let's sort, I don't know, for a month. Let's take the first wallet. That's his interesting schedule. So, the green indicator is how much he earned in a year. The blue graph is how much we would have earned in a year if we had followed him. This does not guarantee any profit for us. This is an approximate calculation based on the following blocks, on the price of the coin in the following blocks. That is, there is a small delay. So, what do we see? So here he went into the scan. Today, by the way. But no, stop. October 23rd. October 23rd. He didn't trade. Since the 23rd of October. Let's find something more relevant. Who was trading right today? Just today, a wallet was trading. So he has $27,000 on his balance sheet. We see that it is successful in all periods. Well, here's a small minus $15. And here is the graph. So let's see what he was doing. So Pinel total is how much profit he took from the transaction, 48%. This is the profit in dollars, that is, $739. At the same time, he invested $1,007,000 and $7,000 in the coin. By the way, these are all indicators, they are configured here in the settings interface. In other words, you can include the parameters you need. For example, I want to watch not only Penel total, but also Penel real live. Also, this whole table is configurable. You can enable additional parameters. Here they are all here. I have set it up as it suits me, for the time periods I need. You can customize it for yourself. So, what do we see? 3 successful trades, then a bunch of unprofitable trades. A lot of losing trades. It doesn't suit me. Well, what's up with him with Vin Reith? Vin Reed, 52%. A little more than half of his deals are successful, the rest are unsuccessful. But I wouldn't follow such a thing with such a person. Very extreme. Let's also filter on the win rate so that the win rate total of the wallet has at least 60%. So that 60% of all its transactions are successful. Here we have 10 wallets left. We open the first one and see this kind of bomb chart. So, interestingly, he has a profit of 1,763%, $12,000 here. So what did it all look like? This is the amount of liquidity of the coin. That is, he bought a coin that had a lifespan of only 1 day and a liquidity of $10,000. So he successfully purchased it a day after its launch and then sold it on liquidity. It grew 5-fold and continued to grow. He sold everything. By the way, just an hour after the purchase. Then the liquidity dropped, he began to buy more coins, and that's it. And now he stopped, bought 3 more times. Here is such a successful deal. We can, by the way, look at the graph. This is where he bought the coin, a day after its launch. And here he is, we are at the top of it, very successfully sold. I bought it here. Apparently he expects the coin to grow. So, well, it doesn't really matter to us. We see that yes, he made a good result. Well, what's next for him? Here he has minus 10%, 3%. Here he entered the bench. Yeah. I bought a coin again. He buys apparently new coins. You see, coin lifetime is 20 minutes. That is, the lifetime of the coin is only 20 minutes. 1 hour and 14 minutes. This is something like a sniper, but rather it is a trader who trades on newly released coins. I'm actually interested in it. In other words, here is the copper coin lifetime in the average lifetime of the coins in which he invests. Here in a year, the average lifetime of a coin is 4 hours and 39 minutes. And the average liquidity of the coin in which he invests is $15,000. In other words, it is actually quite a high-risk trader, closer to even sniping. He is not a sniper because he does not buy coins at the very beginning. He buys them every other day there or in a few hours. But these are the deals. Here he has a deal for almost $8,000. Here he bought a coin 39 minutes after its launch, when there was liquidity of $8,000, and sold it that many times. Wow! Here you can look at the graph. It was the 13th of November. In fact, a very interesting wallet. Wow! Here he was buying, and here he was selling. Yes. Well, quite risky. In fact, by the way, I'll probably put it on tracking myself. I successfully conducted this broadcast. Well, these are gigantic profits. Here he made $52,000 by investing $676. It seems that this is generally like some kind of fraud. It is really necessary to clarify whether this is not fraud at all. Again, there is a whitelist, a trade cooldown, but it doesn't seem to mean anything, because now the market is bullish. Now such cases are quite possible. So, well, this is an exception, generally speaking. It's not really a trader, it's some kind of half-sniper trader. Well, in principle, here he has a win raid, a pin raid, and 62% of his wallet. Then 62% of his transactions are successful. If we followed him, we would have 42% of successful transactions. Is this normal? Our indicators can't match his. That is, here he earned $12,000, we almost earned it. We earned almost 8. Again, this is a calculated indicator. This does not guarantee that in reality, we would have earned as much, maybe less, maybe more. Here would be $43,000. Here, but it turns out everything, it's all his deals. He started working on the 6th of November. And we see, that is, in fact, he has 2 major deals being pulled. They pull out all his statistics. But there is still a deal for $6,500, but it would not have been successful to follow it. That is, we would be in the red on it. Okay, it's not really a trader, but the wallet is interesting. I'll keep it for myself. Let's look further. So we see a more similar chart to the trader. Gradual growth, gradual growth. For the 15th of November, he has a lot of deals. A lot of deals. It immediately catches my eye that many transactions have a transaction time of 0 minutes, and not a stop, it is open. This is an open deal. Okay, open. Well, here's a closed deal of 0 minutes. The problem is that we won't have time to follow such fast deals. I do not recommend following wallets, of which most transactions are 0 minutes. What kind of wine raid does he have? The wine raid is 73%, but it's a very good wine raid. That is, 73% of his transactions are successful, and we have 54. What other indicators do you need to look at? I always look at Cohen's media lifetime, that is, it is the average lifetime of the coins in which he invests. Here he has 11 days, that is, these are also mostly fairly young coins. And the liquidity of coins. Here are $24,000, also low liquid. There is also such an investment and mount parameter. This is the amount that we need to repeat after him. Rather, the top line is the sum of his investments, and the bottom line is the sum of our investments, taking into account reinvestments. In other words, it turns out that in a month, he invested $23,000. And we would have to invest $31,000, but that's a lot for this. That is, he has a swarm of 386%. Okay, that's cool, but we only have 85%, and too much investment is needed. I wouldn't invest so much money to follow such a wallet. But there is another approach to finding traders. This approach is based on the average realized profit as a percentage, that is, a swarm. There is another approach. Let's create a new filter. Let's call him, well, just call him traders. The approach is based on simply finding a profitable wallet for different periods of time. In other words, the main tool for this is ROI total. That is, let's take a swarm of 4 pieces. Let's take a swarm for 3 months, for 1 month, for 14 days, and for 7 days. So, let the swarm for 3 months be at least 9%, for 1 month at least 40% of profit, for 14 days, 15% of profit, and for 10 days, 10% of profit. And we do the same for the research swarm. 3 months, 1 month. Here we will put a little less, 5%, 20%, 10%, and 5%. Let's see how many of our 4 million wallets will remain on such a filter. There are already 14,000 wallets left that satisfy this condition. Too much. Then we cut it off. We are interested in wallets that have a large part of successful transactions. To do this, here is a wine raid. When raid for the year, at least 70%. And our wine research raid also for the year, let it be at least 60%. Let's see. 6,000 wallets. Yeah. Next, you need to cut off the wallets that had a sufficient number of transactions to judge them. In other words, we will need a total trace. Total trace. We will add several pieces so that there will be a certain number of transactions for different periods of time. We will also take 3 months, 1 month, 14 days, and 7 days. There are at least 7 deals in 7 days. There are 14 here, 20 in 1 month, and 40 in 3 months. So how much satisfies this? 25 wallets. That's pretty much all that's needed. And cut off the bench. The most important thing is that the scam for the year was a maximum of 1% of coins. We need very reliable wallets. There are 20 wallets left. And we are also interested in absolute profit. That is, the follower panel is total, so that for a month, we add for a month and for 7 days, so that for a month. He earned at least $3,000, and for the last 7 days, at least $2,000. $17 wallets. Okay. That's it. Here we have made a new filter for traders. Let's look at the first wallet. What do we immediately see? Media Coin lifetime 2 days, the liquidity of coins is $32,000. The average transaction time is 4 hours. Here is an interesting graph. That is, he traded in the plus, then went into the minus, and recently, he has been trading in the plus again. I'd rather not look for a wallet without such drawdowns. I'll look at a few more. That's what a very confident growth is. So, medical lifetime, 16 days, $211,000. The transaction time is 2 hours. Not bad. I would say very well. How much investment is needed? $21,000 a month is needed, but this is certainly not suitable for everyone. That is, he invests $1 and $6,000, $5,000, but takes a good profit. In other words, this is a direct wallet for those who have money, and it seems that you can earn money on it. This is not an investment recommendation. So, the next wallet is 8 days of lifetime, $56,000. The average transaction is 5 days. The schedule is interesting. At first it earned, then it went into the minus, now it's in the plus again. But I wouldn't follow that. And this is a straight super wallet. Judging by the schedule, she has something on investments. But it requires a lot of investment. Here's $83,000. But they invest in highly liquid coins and, yes, stale. The transaction time is 1 day. That is, here he was, the transaction lasted 13 hours, invested $6,000, took $600 of profit. So we found successful traders. I'm not going to look through all the wallets. In principle, I think it is already clear how to find them. Many have asked me to demonstrate my wallets, how successful I am trading. I trade in different ways, but mostly I'm in the black. Now I'm going to show you 2 wallets of my traders. I don't have any open trades at the moment. These are old deals that I missed. They are open at the original wallet. Here are my closed deals. What do we see here? Here is my profit, the profit of the original wallet. That is, I earned $917 here. Here I am in the minus, here I am in the plus. Here, in fact, you can count everything, sum it up, add it up. I turned on this wallet recently, but it's clear that the original wallet has very good indicators here. I turned it off. I'll show you the second wallet, which I follow for a long time. I also don't have any open deals here right now. Here's my story. Today, including very recently, I earned $400, $148, $130. Mostly some positive deals. Yes, there are negative ones, but positive ones. Positively much more. And here was a series of negative trades. And it happens. No one is a loot button, although it looks very similar, but there are more positive ones, and I'm in a good plus here. For this wallet, you can screen, summarize, count in the plus or minus, if someone does not believe. Here you are, for quite a long time, I put inheritance once, and it all happens very successfully. Like this. There are even such profits. But who did not believe, please check. What to do after you have found a successful wallet. For example, in this wallet, we consider it successful. Go to the Capit Rating Bot tab. I have a bot already created, so I'll show you how it's set up approximately. In other words, this is the name of my wallet, this is the name of the wallet that I follow. Here you insert the wallet address that you want to repeat transactions for. I deleted it here so it wouldn't be visible. Next, we configure the bot. We turn on the purchase, protection from MEF bots, allow averaging. How many times to repeat in case of an error? 3, well, it's better to put 4 at all. I buy with 97% of the original wallet. That is, if he bought for $1,000, I will buy for $970. This is my maximum amount of the first purchase, this is my maximum purchase amount, and the maximum I can buy 4 times. Then I copy the gas of the original wallet. This is my delta gas, my slippage. I enter coins only with a lot of liquidity, more than $50,000. This is the maximum allowable commission of a coin for buying and selling, 5%. Then the APRIF is confirmation of the permission to spend the coin, then the delta gas, the number of times it is repeated and sold. That is, in this strategy, I do not use autosale at all. That is, I completely follow the original trader. That is, I only have a copy of the villages. There you go. Protection against MEF bots is also included. The number of attempts to resell in case of an error. I copy the entire gas, rounding in case of incomplete sale of the coin. Here's the take profit here, but I have the autosell turned off, so it doesn't work. Here are the actual settings. Click Save and that's it. In fact, we follow the wallet automatically. Well, we replenish the bot's balance, follow the wallet. Here is a detailed video on how to configure the bot I already have.